Students with me, say hello everyone.
Hi.
And we are broadcasting from Northeast Texas, and we are going to talk about bringing history to life. These students right here are my world history students, my advanced, and I have a couple of student facilitators that actually are going to take it over, and they're going to tell you several things that I have done and other teachers have done to bring history to life, and I will introduce them now. I have Fatma and Faith, and I'll let them take it over.
Okay. Well, first off, we want to talk about how open this classroom is. Miss Bailey has done a wonderful job of making us all feel accepted, and we just wanted to put that out there before we started. My turn.
Okay. In this classroom, we do a lot of hand-on projects, and she lets us we have the freedom to do whatever we want to, really, as long as it pertains to history, obviously. We've had multiple projects throughout the year. We've done a Renaissance Fair Festival where we bring food and we portray characters like John Calvin and Martin Luther. And it's a really interesting thing to do because you think about the things that these people actually did back in those days, and think of how different it is now with all of our technology and our music and all the food that we eat. It's all really different.
Another really large project that we did was our Big World project, Christmas Around the World, sorry. And what we did is that we all portrayed a country, and we did a holiday from there. I myself did Diwali in India. I believe, Faith, you did?
I did Christmas in Ireland.
She did Christmas in Ireland. See, there's just a lot of projects that open us up to so many ideas. I believe we have Lindsay and Kathleen here to talk about some other things as well.
Okay. Oh, Lindsay. That's my dog.
Okay, we do a lot of hands-on stuff.
Yeah, they just want to talk about how there's so much hands-on things. We're always using phones. And I remember when we're watching movies and stuff, we're allowed to take our phones out and start doing research.
Yeah, and it's very hands-on, and we get freedom when we do it, and yeah.
Good job.
Thank you. During my project for Diwali, we were needed to create a project, not a project, more like an arts and crafts DIY. And my group did this lantern. It had things to hold it up, but they fell off.
This is an accurate depiction of some building in Russia that my country did not do, but it's actually rather interesting, and the Russian flag is on the back. Dude, no one's watching. I know. It's okay. I don't know. Oh, look, we have one. Hi. If you're just joining, nope, they left.
Back to zero.
Okay. Well, she's going to be recording us, so okay. This is our first time to ever do this. We're really excited, and we're also really kind of nervous. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and explain how we did our Christmas Around the World, and then the students will explain their projects that they have, some examples. What I had done is I gave the students a country. They chose whatever country they wanted, and from that they did the research. They had to find out what religion that country was, what they did at Christmas time, whether it was a Christian celebration, was it a Jewish celebration, or is there a different type of religion for that country? And then the students also went on to research the traditions. Were there different traditional food? Were there different traditional rituals? Did they have what kind of decorations, arts, crafts, games, and so forth? So they actually were learning about the country, how they celebrated a winter holiday, because we discovered some didn't really do a Christian holiday. They just celebrated the winter solstice. And Fatima, her group, chose India. And since they didn't really do a Christmas or a Christian holiday, they did
Diwali, which is Hindu.
So her group, they had costumes, they had traditional food, And then because she didn't have any of the actual lanterns, her group chose as their craft to make a lantern. And here was the project she had. Let's go back just a bit. And go ahead and explain that.
It was quite easy to make. It was just with paper and double-sided tape. Our group partner Josh was the one that made it, and we all kind of. He's gonna come up here and explain how he kind of did it.
All right. Double-sided tape is really hard to work with. But what I had done was I took a poster board and cut it by 7 by 14 inches. 7 for the length, 14 for the width. Now, I rolled that up and then took gold ribbon, wrapped it around the side, and glued it down. Now, I took colored paper. You can get it pretty much anywhere. And I cut it in random shapes. And then I had some plastic jewels that I had taped to the rims of the paper. Now, I previously did one before, and it didn't work out so well, and I was short on time, so I did this one, and that's kind of, but at one point, the tape wouldn't stick, so I had to use paper clips to hold it in place. So.
Thanks, Josh. We also had, yeah, you can clap for Josh.
All right. That's my goal.
We also had some students that chose to do ornaments. So a student from Russia created, it's an ornament, but she also said they could use it as a napkin holder, so she had the napkins inside. But it was just simple things, just hands-on activities that piqued the students' interest and ideas and ways that they would be willing to learn, and then they shared. And we had almost like a history fair or science fair format. The students were set up at different stations. We had a rubric, and then the principals and other teachers walked around and just looked and learned and questioned and graded the students according to the rubric. Some of the other projects we had done in this room, we talked about the Renaissance Fair. And someone is going to explain how we started that and what we did and what they got out of that.
Renaissance Fair. Mike and Alexis never went
Andrew
to
should do it
Renaissance
because he
Fair.
had the best food.
Yeah, Andrew.
Everyone tell us real quick.
Your food good. Tell about your food, chef.
The Renaissance Fair that we did was over historical figures like John Calvin, Martin Luther, and people like Shakespeare and Michelangelo. The Renaissance was a different time period from this because it's a lot of not technology stuff, a lot of rustic things such as different dishes and no really plumbing and stuff. I did Johannes Gutenberg, and he was a printer, and he was very poor. That's about it.
Something else that's really common in this classroom is how we take notes. It's kind of unorthodox, but we love doing it because it's not boring. Brittany's going to come up and explain that to y'all.
Hi. Whenever we take notes, Miss Bailey, she never lectures us. Usually we get our notes from more of like historical movies. Like not too long ago, we watched a movie about Elizabeth, the Queen. Usually, I forgot what I was gonna say. We don't like we do take notes. But it's not like a long, boring lecture that we just have to sit through and most of the time sleep through, to be honest. We actually do enjoy how she teaches. She is a very, we usually, you distracted me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Not only do we take notes with videos, we just watch a lot of videos in general. And I know, like, one day we'll come in and she'll have a video ready for us, and then maybe we'll do a bell ringer about what we just watched. I know a lot of times, maybe once or twice a week, we'll do CNN News, which is just a short clip over politics and government and what's happening in the world right now. And a lot of the times we don't get our notes from PowerPoints or anything. We do it from videos, educational videos. We did some on Egypt and how they portrayed kings as gods. We did a lot of things about that. And
In Egypt, we talked about mummification and making paper.
in Egypt, we talked about making paper and mummification and how they kept the bodies and stuff, and how they built the pyramids.
We did a lot about China.
We did a lot
And the
about
Great
China
Wall
and the
of
Great
China.
Wall of China. We did a lot about Genghis Khan. Mostly all of these things that we get them from videos, and we all remember them because we enjoyed watching the videos. I don't think there's been a day in this classroom where I was bored.
Okay. All right. I don't want y'all to think that they're just kind of continually praising me. I know they like me. I know they appreciate the class. But the whole idea is these students are digital learners. They always have their phone in their hand, or they're in front of their laptop or their Xbox or something. So what I try to do is hit them where they're at. They are visual, but we also try to do things that are hands-on. So we also do those projects. But with the videos that we watch, and don't get me wrong, we don't watch videos all day, every day, and continual. We've seen one full-length movie about Elizabeth I. But I show interesting videos to the students, like the mummification, because they had no idea how mummies, the process, the whole long process, and how many days it took. And they're high school students, so some of the things are a little bit gory, and that might be what I use some days. I mean, it's not full out death and destruction, but interesting things enough to catch them, but yet small enough where it's not over the line of adult material. And with mummification, I'm talking about how the brain is pulled out with the tools and then put in the canisters and the different organs. Students didn't know that, they don't understand that, and it's part of history. That's things that's happened. Sometimes, or a lot of times, people in history want to make history pretty. So a lot of the things that I'll tell the students are questionable in history, and I tell them from day one that if you break history up, it's his story. And we talk about, well, why is it not her story? How come we don't have ladies in it? Or how come it's not much that the ladies are talked about? I also tell them, just because I tell you something in history class does not mean it's the truth. It's not like I'm Google and I'm the know of everything, and just like Google, if it's on the internet, it is correct. That is not true. I teach my students to look at several resources, to look at several different perspectives, and look at different outcomes, different opinions, so that they can get the whole picture and not just, oh, well, my teacher in 10th grade or 11th grade said this, and I take it the truth. Forever. There's things, history is always being edited, researched, and I tell them, number one thing, never stop learning. Continue to learn about it. If you hear something and it contradicts what you've been told, research. We'll talk about it. And we've done that. We've had debates. When in kindergarten, everyone is taught Columbus discovered America. Y'all did Columbus discover America?
Heck no, man.
Okay, so those are just different things. But when I had first mentioned that to my students, they were like, no, you're wrong. So that creates a debate. And it proves to the students, if they research something that I've mentioned in class and I've misspoke, or I even just said it the wrong way, I encourage them to correct me. And they're great about that. And sometimes I'll just say something that is incorrect to see if they're paying attention, to get them to say, well, no, this is what I've heard, or this, and okay, well, prove it to me, tell me, so that they're paying attention and that they're always learning and interested in trying to get the whole picture to it. Some of the fun things that we do in class, Fatima mentioned, is we have music. I always try, I haven't a lot lately because we've been so busy, but I try to have music playing when the students walk in. Just today we had a pretty good song going on, and the students walk in and they some days expect music, and if it's not playing, they're like, hey, where's it at? Just today Andrew walked in and he was singing. So just fun, simple little things to make history interesting. The students more or less self-guide themselves, and not just my advanced students. Even my regular students, I try to encourage them. In the beginning of the year, I had one student, Adrian, that was talking about, just because we're in advanced classes, we have more work. We have to answer more questions. We have more homework. And it's not fair just because we're advanced, because we can remember the vocabulary a little bit easier than a regular class. We shouldn't be punished. And that was a big eye opener to me, because just because they can remember something just for the test doesn't mean that they actually remember it. So in advanced class, Fatima can explain what I do for the advanced students opposed to just the regular students, so that they really don't feel there's a difference, and vice versa.
A lot of what she does, and I've noticed that a lot more teachers have picked this up, is that instead of giving us more questions or more of a workload, they just make the questions more challenging. And I think everyone in here enjoys that, not having that much work. And
another thing about being in these advanced classes is that our criteria is raised a lot, and it makes it somewhat more difficult, but then again, it prepares us for later on in life when we're going to have to study for college and we have to get a job and pay more attention to everything.
I'm just going to get back on the hands-on, because that's really what brings history to life. She is very hands-on. We have a few projects coming up, like World War II, but dodgeball, where each student is going to represent a country. And like maybe that country was on this side first and then switch over to that. That's what we're going to have students do. Another project that we have coming up is, if we ever get snow outside, she wanted to make historical snowmen. And we can kind of talk about the dress and the dialect and stuff from around that time period. One of the things that kind of keeps it fun and lighthearted is Friday Funnies. Our teacher has developed this way on Fridays, where when we're doing bell ringers, she'll play funny videos, whether it be vines or memes or just a funny picture. It usually keeps us quite entertained while we do bell ringers. Something that the other history class is going to be doing is that they're going to be making African masks. And I feel like that's really cool. I can't wait to do it next year. One thing that I've really noticed in this class is that she teaches different types of methods. It's hands-on and vocal and auditory. It's the same thing. But there's just many different types of teaching. And I think that caters to everyone's needs.
It makes it a lot easier for each individual student to learn what they need to learn when she does these things, because not everyone learns in the same form. So if one of us learns auditory and then one of us has to do visual, watching a movie would be a lot easier than just sitting and listening to something just we don't want to hear about. We have some examples of projects that our history classes have done.
These are the U.S. history.
These are the U.S. history. What was the project?
Okay, so I'll have the students show a couple of the U.S. history projects. When we were studying the 1920s, I gave the students a whole bunch of terms, and I said, okay, these words would represent the 1920s, these words, these people, these events. And I asked them, if you were to represent the 1920s, what would be the best choice? And a lot of them said, well, visual, because not many people could read during the time. So what the students did is they created collage and murals. They had the option for the students that could draw if they wanted to draw, and those that couldn't decided to go on the internet and pick up a bunch of pictures and then paste them. Y'all may want to scoot back a little.
Yeah, they can't
This
see the whole
was
thing.
one student, obviously he's in an art class, but he chose like the 1920s, and it's all in light bulbs because of Broadway and the light, and then the music coming out of it. And so I told the students I really wanted them to refrain from using words, but obviously with Henry Ford and the car and mobility around the country, you had to use Ford. Others did choose to use just like a picture of the car and all, but it wasn't just take a picture and put it out there. The students had to find a picture or something, draw something to represent, and then they had to explain why they chose what they chose. So, obviously it's really kind of hard to find with the flapper. So they chose a picture of the girl, and I was like, well, what did she represent? And they explained. So here was one of a student. Okay, guys,
Y'all can
thank
put
you.
that down.
Here was one of a student, they just chose pictures from the internet and they created a collage, but these pictures all represented something. And then this student, she decided she wanted to be really artsy, and she filled in the extra blank space And there was one, this student as well, she drew. And not all of the students got all of the terms on, but as far as just their analysis of the words, like this one I thought was really genius, where she was talking about a bootlegger, and she has the leg in the boot and the alcohol in the leg. And just the different pictures, and they're just analysis of how these students chose to represent the 20s. And then they got up in front of the class and explained it. So that was just a simple example to me to know that, okay, they have these terms, they understood the terms, but here they were able to represent it other than the actual picture, or have it in their mind how they understood it. And that let me also understand whether the students needed to have some more teaching done, if they misunderstood it, or if they actually did get it the way that we needed them to understand. I don't know if anyone has any questions, comments, concerns. I think it's the
They don't
lady in
want
the
to see
library.
us succeed in history. They want us to say, hey,
Well, they are recording it, and other people can see this later on.
Do you want me to talk about some class discussions?
Yeah, yeah. Hot topics.
Hot topics. Okay.
Sure. Something that else that we do in this class is we talk about things that are happening in like during political debates, like a lot of stuff happening with Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, although I don't like either of them. It's really, it keeps us up to date on a lot of things that are happening in our country, and a lot of kids don't care really about politics or who becomes president, and they don't realize that that's a major part of our whole economic buildup, and we all need to pay attention to that.
See, in this class, we're open to more things than some other classes might be. We have bell ringers that we'll go home and like we'll do more research on them. We'll be like, oh, so that's how that works. We'll even do that during movies and things. We, like she said, we do a lot of debates. She'll put just a normal bell ringer on, and it'll go into a full class debate. And she'll I don't want to say add fuel to the fire, but she'll like keep us going. She'll spur us forward, and we'll be like, wait, but that doesn't sound right. And we'll grab a book or our phones and we'll look it up. And we're always researching different things.
The idea with the students debating is that, you know, like Faith said, she doesn't like either one of them, but I open it up where the students are allowed to say that. So, you know, you don't like either one, but why? I tell them, I said, in this class, I'm going to treat you like 2-year-olds. I am going to be the 2-year-old and continually say to you, why? It's okay to have an opinion, but if you cannot justify it, what's the sense of having an opinion? And your opinion may be someone else's, or someone may object to it, but the whole idea is why. To understand. With history, the whole idea is, again, to understand why. Why did this happen? What effect did it have? So a lot of the times I'll do with students the 5 W's. When did this happen? Where did it happen? Why did it happen? How was it affected? Who was involved? The whole idea is to just keep them questioning, keep them wondering. I'll throw out a lot of trivia. History is full of trivia facts. It's, you know, the typical stereotype of old dead white men. So why aren't we talking about these others all the time, not just in March for women or for African Americans in February? We talk about that all year long so that it's not just old dead white men. And we always justify, why is this happening? What's the outcome? What's the purpose? Why do we study history? History's boring. You know, it's old, it's in the past. Why does it matter? We don't study about just the typical historians. We talk about pop culture, like Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson, Cam Newton, the Super Bowl. On different days, like today is TBT, we go with Instagram and Facebook, because again, that's where the students are at. You know, today is Throwback Tuesday and our Thursday, sorry. And the bell ringers, when is your favorite time period in history? We've done Man Crush Mondays, we've done Women Crush Wednesdays, and I tie it into history. Who is your favorite female in history? And sometimes this week we did Man Crush Monday, and I told the students it has to be a typical historian. It can't be a like Cam Newton or a pop culture. So sometimes it could be any person, sometimes it could be all of history. So let them know that history's around. We've talked about songs that involve history. I try to play a song that talks about the era. When we did Egypt, we listened to Walk Like an Egyptian by the Bangles, which was an older song, but it's still history is around you. And the students realize it, not just so that they could be on Jeopardy one day, or they're not caught on TV and asked a history question about, let's sign this petition to end suffrage for the women, and the girls are like, okay, I'll sign it. And they're like, wait, I just signed my right to vote away. So it's about having them be informed citizens and having them participate, but more so bringing history to life is reaching the students where they're at. If it's on Twitter, if it's on Facebook, if it's on Instagram, if it's something with a Snapchat story, we talk about things like that. And then the students will come in and they'll be like, hey, did you hear about? I'll do different trivia questions for the students, and I'll say, what would one of the trivia questions I've done for y'all that I say, if you can find the answer to this and tell me on the test,
We get some candy.
you'll get candy. They love to compete for candy. We did, what did we do? Chance, come tell what we did on Tuesday.
What did we do on Tuesday? I wasn't here.
Countries with the.
Okay, tell them.
Okay. On Tuesday, I wasn't here, but I did the Boehringer because I really wanted to. Yeah, we had to name, whoever could name the most countries, places, cities that started with the letter T, because it was Tuesday. Some people did like Tallahassee and Timbuktu, Tokyo,
Thailand.
Tatum, Thailand, Tyler. We just like, see, this is a group effort. Tuesday, no one could figure out anything.
Tallahassee.
I said that.
But the point is, they know of
They
these
have fun.
places now.
Yeah.
They know them.
Because like it's always bringing new information in. Like we don't really realize it when we're doing it, but it's always about doing the research. And they're still going. They're still going.
Which is good.
Don't
Good.
stop.
Exactly. They don't stop. They really don't.
Yeah. What other talking points do we have?
1 second.
Okay, when talk about that we don't really do tests. We do
Yeah,
projects.
we don't really do tests. Most of our big test grades come from projects. And I feel like that helps us a lot because we're not only learning, but we're keeping our grades up rather than the people that aren't very good at taking tests.
I feel like when teachers force us to take tests, it raises the standards and it makes us like feel more pressure, so we're more focused. But at the same time, it's so much stress, and people don't realize that high schoolers go through a lot of stress, even though we're young. It's really hard to take tests, and when we just do projects instead, it actually helps us learn more because we're more interested in what we're doing, in the crafts and the foods that we make.
I lost my train of thought. I had something. Just 1 second. Like we said, we use a lot of phones and hands-on things, but it's not only hands-on. I know even when we, like, a few times we'll read from the book. Not very often, but
Very
even then
seldom.
we enjoy it.
Very seldom.
Just because, very seldom. Because of the notes that we're given. They're so easily laid out that it's easy for us to follow. I know you get a lot of ideas from Facebook chats and there's social studies chat, and then one of the main things is that you never stop trying new things. You keep bringing in something new and just something that hasn't been done before.
One of the major things that I think I learned from is the students. You know, I'm from the era where in social studies we had the teacher stand up in front of the class and he lectured the whole 45 minutes and we took notes. And that was okay for me because that was my learning style. But today, a lot of the students don't want to just sit. I mean, they're not even used to it. Most kids nowadays can't even listen to a 1-minute commercial. So they need to be entertained, sadly, in some ways. But what I do a lot of times is I'll ask the students, I give them choices. And I think that's what the students enjoy, whether it's in history or in any class, is the choices. Can I draw it? Can I get on the computer and do it? Can I research it in my phone? Can I get on the internet? Do I have to use a textbook? There's more sources out there than just the textbook, and the students can go find them, and then they actually can teach them to us or teach them to other students. So I think the biggest thing in a history class is that the students have choice. They enjoy the choice of the medium. They enjoy the choice of how it's presented or how they receive it, whether it's from me or from a book or from the internet. And when the students are doing it themselves, that provides the interest and that provides something that they're going to remember. Just like the students on Tuesday when we were talking about countries with T, they were just thinking of around us and they could only think of maybe 3 or 4. And then once we started to share and talk about them, and then you even heard today, they knew these places. And they're like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. And they're like, well, where is that? I want to learn about that possibly. And it gives them the initiative to go and learn on their own and continue to learn. Y'all have any other things, suggestions, not just in my class, other classes that you've done where it's been interesting for you and you've enjoyed it?
So like this history class, like use our culinary art skills to create history.
Yes, Andrew is an awesome cook, and when we do different projects that involve food, we try to bring in, when we do our end of the 6 weeks or something, we do something with food.
Yeah.
And Andrew enjoys that because he's an awesome cook, and we enjoy it because he feeds us awesome food. So
It's usually another thing about the food is that she's very open to ideas. Where usually like I brought samosas for India. He brought some bread type thing. And like we're always like, oh hey, that's cool. How do you make that? We'll go look at recipes. We'll be like, oh, where did that come from? That's such an odd idea. Like it's always leading to more things. It's always like spurring that interest in us. Do you have anything to add? No? Bells are about to ring, so we're kind of like
Slowing down.
Is there anything else that we need to add? I think we covered all the bases.
I think that was.
Is that it? Can we stop?
I guess so.
Do you want to?
I think we're just gonna end here. We have where the bell is about to ring and our students are going to transition to different classes. So we'll keep this up and we'll keep it going. I'm gonna play a little bit of music so you can see how it is when the students walk in. And then we'll come back. Okay.
Okay. What do you want to do? I think this next class would be better because our story.
I'm in the next class.
Okay, y'all, thank you so much. Did you enjoy it? It was fun. Listen, hey, y'all, listen, don't be discouraged because we had people jumping in. We had a few, then we lost them, then we had none. She's recording this, so that doesn't mean other people tonight, for the next month, year, won't watch what we did. Okay, it's all over the world, so it may be 1 o'clock in the morning in Singapore, and they didn't watch us, but they might tonight, and they'll share their ideas. So we will be viewed, we just didn't see them viewing us right now. So don't be discouraged. Yeah. Thank you all, I appreciate it. Caitlin, thank you. That was my first time ever. I mean, you know, it's a guy that went before us. He's done several. So, did y'all sit in on another one?
When using a Mercedes-Benz luxury,
Yeah, it's slow going.
Okay, so we're transitioning to another class, and as those students come in, we're just gonna leave this up and have those students come in, and then they'll come and chat. So if you're watching us, just hang
Bear with
on,
us.
welcome, just bear with us for a few more minutes while we transition.
36 months with just 4523 Woodstock. Visit us today or what do you do consumers for these details?
A message from TXU Weather for your intermediate knowledge. DMAP Powerball predicting the weather. Never wonder. You live in Texas. If you're something you can't do, savings. As much as $50 for free electricity based on use every month, all year long, automatically. So don't fret. You told the kids you won't need a jacket, and then that blast of frigid air hits. Soak and savings with TXU Energy. For details, call 1-866-TXU. Monthly saver, inspired by you. TXU Energy.
Right.
Y'all are live, so come on in. Right now, there's no one watching us, so you can, but they are recording it, so people can watch us later on.
Nobody likes those.
People have been in and out all, but that's what they do. They jump in, they jump out. So come on in and have a seat. You're dead center. Say hi. All those things.
Why is all this stuff on our table?
No, we're beautiful.
Oh my God, wait.
You look totally smart. You were
Oh.
Hi.
I didn't know. I never come on this.
Okay, you can welcome them back.
Or just watch messages.
Yes.
Hello.
We wanted to go ahead and we got a new class in here. We wanted to go ahead and introduce someone. Tori, want to come up here and talk about the politics? Yeah.
Ooh. Sorry.
Tori.
politics, just like history class. So,
How we talk about it in class.
Politics, actual politics.
You ever heard of the
so
How we talk about it in class. What we do is like the debates and the questions and stuff.
okay, so we just talk about politics in class a lot. Everyone's viewpoint is accepted as long as you can defend it accurately. We have like a lot of people on the political spectrum here. We have people who are exceedingly liberal, like myself, and then we have people who are exceedingly conservative, like Faith, you know, Brianna.
Yeah.
And we don't really believe in just bashing people because it's not like I'm right and they're wrong. It's more of just different ideas that we like to share and pitch around. And that's about it, yeah. So,
Like she briefly mentioned, everyone's idea is like accepted here. No one really gets shut down unless they say like the sky is purple, which
doesn't quite make sense.
Doesn't quite make sense. Usually, like, everyone's really forthcoming with their opinions, as well as this entire atmosphere that, like, the students, like, our workload, it's really relaxed. It's really chill.
Chill.
Chill. Do y'all have anything else that y'all wanted to talk about?
I don't even know what's going on.
Nothing? Can't talk about football.
Can we? Now?
Maybe.
No.
We're East Texas.
They talk about the clothes they wore back then.
Okay.
A lot of the projects we do, it's we dress up, we do the food. We mentioned this earlier, but I just want to cover it again because it is such a big part of what we do in class. I know my mom is from India, my dad's from Pakistan, and I did India for my Christmas Around the World project, and it was quite easy for me to get those dresses. And I felt a bit weary about wearing them to school just because I was like, I don't want people to judge me. But everyone was so nice about it. They were like, oh, that's so pretty. Like, where does it come from? Like, how'd you get it? And everyone will ask these questions. And I was so happy that I could wear that and, like, express kind of where I came from. And
It's a lot easier to learn in an environment where there's people around you that are accepting of everything that we're doing here. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to broaden the spectrum of what our minds can comprehend. And we just want our society in the future to be better equipped for what our country needs. And I don't know what else to say.
Okay, the whole idea of us doing this, it's not to just like keep preaching on the one thing. Like the students have mentioned, most of the learning is in their hands. Most of it is what choices. These are the standards that I must teach. These are the things that we have to learn about. There's no end of the course exam for these students, but for other students, I also teach U.S. history. They have one. So they have a little bit more restrictions as far as the projects and the time frame. Now with the world history, there's standards I must teach in both subjects. But with world history, we have a lot more freedom of the way we can do it. So I put the learning to the students. You know, you have to do this about Africa, or you need to learn about this in Egypt. How do we want to do it? How do you want to show that you've understood the concept? You understand what's going on. You know it. So I give the students the opportunity, and it's in their hands. This is what you have to learn. These are the mediums. You can use the textbook. You can use the internet. You can use the phone. But for students, history, the typical stereotype, it's just about memorization. And do I have to always memorize for a test and then walk out of the room and not remember it? Or can I actually make something? Can I create something? Can I do something? We have a student in this class period right now that is pretty close to being fluent in Russian. And she follows the news and she follows politics. And she's not the only one in this class. A lot of these students do. But what can she teach us? So we're all learners. I'm learning just like they are. But for the students to get to do something that they enjoy and giving them the power and the mediums that they do, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, videos, YouTube, things like that are what the students enjoy, and that's what's going to keep their interest and make it where it's not just memorizing all these old dead white people. How can I learn more, and what can I do? So we want to thank you for joining us, and we know it was a bit of a mess. This was our first time. It was really fun, and everyone wants to say goodbye.
See ya.
Thanks for listening.
Get